Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
All right, let's welcome everybody out today to episode 311 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Hollifield.
This episode of the podcast is proudly sponsored by Five Wives Vodka and Amanda K. Memories, but we'll get more into the both of them a little bit later. Today on the podcast, we get the opportunity to sit down and chat with local Salt Lake City tattoo artist Will XX. We find out what got him interested in tattooing, what brought him to Utah, and Blaque Salt Studio.
He has such a great story.
Oh my, what a great guy.
He was like the nicest guy.
Yeah, I was just
so
like,
fun.
I want to keep talking to
I know.
you, Will.
You could talk to him forever.
And now I want to go get tattooed by him. We're going to get into that story here in just a second. As a new year is upon us, I know both Chrissy and myself would love to connect more with you. I mean, I know a lot of you listen to the show week after week, but we don't know who you are out there.
Well, it's so much fun when we get to know a listener, when we actually become friends and we can interact with you for real.
So send us a Facebook message, send us a tweet, send us an email. All of that is going to be, if you go to iamsaltlake.com and you look up top, there's a contact button. And I know Chrissy did a bang up job with this, breaking it down, how you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat.
Whatever your social media of choice.
And our email is right up there as well.
Yeah.
So feel free, reach out, let's connect. Let's make 2018 the year of connecting with you, the listener, and us, the hosts of I Am Salt Lake. All right, with all that being said, let's jump into that conversation that we had with Will XX as he came over to our office and shared his story. Enjoy. Where do you call home? Where's home for you, Will?
Home now is Salt Lake. I love this place. I love this state. We moved here in 2012, and it's been the best decision we've ever done.
Where'd you move here from?
From Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
I had friends years ago that I used to skateboard with from Knoxville. Mm-hmm. Whereabouts in Tennessee?
We were 45 minutes north of Nashville in Clarksville. It's a military town. When I got out of the Army, that's basically where we called home, just because we had a home already. We knew the area, and it was just easier to just stay there than try to relocate.
So you were in the Army?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Chris.
That's great.
How long were you in the Army for?
For 9 years.
9 years?
Yes.
Did you still do anything with them? No? Or
Well, when I got out.
What do you call it? Active duty? Or
No. I'm completely out. 100%,
completely out,
yes. Yeah. But mostly, I guess in a way I'm still connected just because of the veteran community here.
Sure, yeah.
I do a lot of stuff with Black Rifle Coffee Company, and they're 100% veteran, supportive, and owned. And that's really plugged me back into the community. Before that, I purposely kind of removed myself from that because I didn't really have the best time. I wore the uniform, but I kind of really wasn't a soldier. I really wasn't into it. I learned a lot. I grew up a lot, but it wasn't really my place.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could say that at least.
Yes.
And Black Rifle, I need to talk to you afterwards because I'd love to chat with them on this show here.
Sure.
So, and I know they're not far from your
just like
shop
5
there, Blaque
minutes.
Salt Studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we'll get into here, you being a tattoo artist and obviously all that. But like, what kind of kid were you growing up? I mean, were you an artistic kid?
I was
were you
definitely
drawing a lot?
I did draw quite a bit. I've been drawing since I could remember. I was around 6 when I first really figured out that I'm decent at it and I had fun with it. But I was a pretty decent troublemaker. And I'm
getting into trouble.
I'm still kind of a curious person. I've always had this nature where I just like taking stuff apart. I don't really know how to put it back together. Like VCRs were a mystery to me.
Were you that kid that took apart all your parents' stuff while they weren't in the room?
Oh yeah, tape players and VCRs.
So there would be like a VCR, and they would. What would they do? Would they punish you, or just would they look at you like, "All right, Will's just being creative here"?
Oh no, they were highly upset. You can't. Leave me alone.
I couldn't imagine if one of the kids did that to one of our electronics, Chrissy.
See, I would be a proud parent, but I think I'm
Would
weird.
you?
Oh yeah, I'd be like, look at you exploring.
Be like, well, as long as you
That's
could put
so
that
great.
together.
That was always the tricky part. I never
That's the hard part,
understood
yeah.
how to put stuff back together.
So what did you want to be as a kid? I mean, right? We all want to be something, right? You know, a policeman or fireman. Did you want to be a tattoo artist?
No, I I wanted to be Bruce Lee. I didn't want to be like Bruce Lee. I wanted to be Bruce Lee. For some reason in my head, it made sense.
Did you ever take any kind of martial arts training?
Not at all. I would watch Enter the Dragon in the loop.
That's
and
awesome.
Draw with red markers all the slashes on me and just scream around the house. I don't know why, but I was just really.
That's so cool.
That was just in my
Dude, that
head,
is the best response that we've ever
I
gotten
think so.
on here, you know?
The tattoo thing.
When did that happen?
It casually happened while I was in the military. I was what you call a scratcher, basically buying crappy equipment off eBay and a couple other websites that I knew that wouldn't check if I was professional or not. So while I was in the military, I was tattooing and...
Doesn't the military kind of frown on tattoos, though?
Yes and no. They they really don't care as long as you're within regulations. But when I was in Korea and Iraq, it's illegal. And I was still doing it there.
How is it so illegal in those countries?
In the country, yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So what happens if they see it?
Well,
like if they saw your hands right now, what would happen?
They wouldn't do anything. The act of tattooing is illegal. You can have tattoos.
Okay.
So getting caught tattooing.
Yeah.
But if you're under the U.S. military, can they enforce that in those
you
countries?
still have to obey country laws, regardless.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know these things.
There were states, I mean, not too long ago, I know Massachusetts, back, I think it was even the late 90s, it was against a lot of tattoo there.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of states even were against the law not very long ago.
When I was stationed in Oklahoma, it was illegal to get tattooed in Oklahoma, and that was in 97 to 99, and we had to drive down to Texas to get tattooed. That's where I first started. Or getting tattooed, not actually doing them. And then I think it was 2005 it got lifted. So it's been fairly recent that it was still illegal to do tattoos.
Isn't that so crazy?
That blows my mind.
And then Utah, right? Like probably Utah's been fine forever, really.
I don't know the history of the tattooing here, but yeah,
which is crazy because it seems like Utah likes to cause problems with everything else, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
they like
I guess we should keep our mouths shut, right? We
Utah's pretty supportive of different types of art forms, though.
Well, there is so many amazing tattoo artists in Salt Lake City, and that's why I was, glad Casey, we've had her on the podcast. She tattoos out of your shop, Blaque Salt Studio, right? I'm getting it right. My mind's going. I got all these names and thoughts going in my head right now. So did you have an official apprenticeship then, or did you just buy some equipment and teach yourself?
So tattooing in the military, I was just
whoever wanted it.
Well, you have a barracks full of drunk soldiers, and if you scream down the hallway, "Who wants a free tattoo?" you get a lot of practice.
Sure,
wow,
it's really easy. I didn't know what I was doing. I was getting tattooed, and back to being a curious person, I would just watch what they were doing. So it was monkey see, monkey do. I would see how they put the rubber bands on. But there wasn't YouTube, right? Like you weren't watching YouTube. Not at all.
This was like watching in shops.
Just me just taking mental notes whenever I would get tattooed, or my wife or whoever. I would ask a bunch of questions. They usually don't answer questions. It's a very kind of a secret society when it comes to stuff like that at the time.
Because they don't really want to share trade secrets.
Yeah, it's supposed to be mentor to apprentice information. Mm-hmm. Now with YouTube and a bunch of videos, you can find all the information online now.
Yeah.
But at the time, that's all I had, was just basically trying to mimic what I saw and then try to just do my best off of that.
So remind me, how long have you been in Utah then?
Since 2012.
And have you been tattooing the whole time that you came to Utah?
Yes.
And always out of Blaque Salt Studio, or what shops were you tattooing out of?
So when I first got to Utah, I actually didn't want to tattoo anymore.
You were like, I'm done.
Well, it was just the experience I had in Tennessee. I was a little burned out on it. And when I got here, I was just going to use the GI Bill to go to art school and figure something out. I've always wanted to go to art school ever since I was a teenager. It was the only goal I had in mind for some reason. I didn't know what I was going to do with that. But I just figured I'll just have the government pay for my schooling, pay for my rent and everything, and then I'll figure it out eventually. It's at least going to buy me 6 months of time. And I did a little bit of a work over at 27 with Vic.
Yeah.
That's where my very first tattoo shop in Utah. And from there, I went over to Anchor Inc. on State, owned by Steve Tippett.
Okay.
And I was with him for about 6 months, and my schedule just got so out of hand that started just taking appointment only stuff, and then eventually I didn't want to have to work in a street shop. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just wanted something a little bit more quiet and a little bit more private. And
well, something to like express your skills. You have amazing talent.
Thank you.
And if you have just a normal street shop, you're not going to be able to get that talent out really. And
You want to work on more specialty projects.
yeah,
Exactly.
instead of just flash
Exactly.
stuff on a wall,
Yeah.
right?
Which is, it's fine to, in the beginning, trying to build up your skills and paying bills and all that fun stuff. But I just wanted more. I wanted more artistic expression. I wanted more freedom. And the walk-in clientele has a different mentality than somebody who's willing to wait 6 months to get tattooed by you and not see a single drawing. We're talking about two different types of peoples, and that's basically what I've put myself into now.
So for people listening right now, how would you describe your style? I mean, you, from what I've seen, it looks like you're really good with portraits.
Yeah.
It's like realistic, abstract, kind of creepy, black and gray, basically. Just some realistic details in there, some brushy, like kind of a charcoal drawing.
Yeah.
So it's some smeary stuff in there. It's how I feel. I like a lot of contrast. I like chaos with controlled. I like dark next to light. I like crusty looking stuff next to something super smooth.
Have you gone through phases kind of like
Yeah.
Picasso did?
Yeah. And I'll look back and go, wow, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, these people are so trusting and nice to me.
That's awesome.
All I can do is just try my best every single day. I'm so critical of my work that I don't tell the clients that I'm not happy with it, but I go home and I rip it apart and I go, I can do better tomorrow.
After you've tattooed the person?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I think that's kind of the life of an artist in general,
Exactly,
because you're always striving for perfection, but you never feel like it's actually attainable.
Yeah. Well, perfection that's
doesn't
all
exist.
perspective.
Well,
so
that's
it's
true.
progression to me. Progression
Yeah.
is the only true thing. So if I could be just a little bit better tomorrow than I am today, even though it's frustrating, I still think the product will come out better at the very end.
Any
Yeah.
idea how many people you've tattooed?
No clue.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
that just popped in my head. I'm like, I
hundreds
wonder if
and
do people, do
hundreds.
tattoo artists count how many people they tattoo?
In the beginning, I think for the first year, they were like, yeah, I got 20, I got 30. And then after you just don't,
Then you're
don't
just
care.
like, I just do so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did $13 tattoo walk-in day once, and I think I did 34 tattoos in a day.
How do those, okay, so tell me, clue me in, clue listeners in. I see those happen, like Friday the 13th deals. And like, I'm always like, oh man, I should jump on one of those. But then you see these other pages and people kind of rip it apart, like yeah, that's not the best idea. And so it's like, well, it's not like I'm not, I mean, I realize, but it just seems like a fun idea.
If you're going to go in there with that, if it's going to be something fun just for kicks, whatever, and you don't really care about the tattoo, if it's something small and it's a memory, that's great. If you're looking to get something like a really solid tattoo, you're not going to get it on the $13 day. Everybody's basically trying to get you in and get you out.
Yeah, well, that's how it is. I have this little slug on my arm, and a few years back, Slug magazine did the 25th anniversary, and they were just getting them in and out. Sarah Diaz-Avedo did this. I don't know if you probably know her. And I knew it wasn't anything. My
It's
goal,
so cute, though, and it's a
now it's a memory of the Slug magazine party and blah blah blah. And so I've always wanted to maybe take part in one of those Friday the 13th.
Go for it. I have small tattoos on me that they're bad, but the person that did it and the moment that I got it done, it's a great memory. Like my wife tattooed me. It's her first tattoo. It's a little heart right
so
there.
cute.
And it's awesome. I get to see it all the time. Every time I look down, it's just a little drawing that she put
so
on me.
cool.
Does she tattoo or no?
Not at all.
She just wanted
Not
it.
at
That's not bad.
Did you just let her do
Yeah.
that once to you? Just
Well, I didn't want to have her nervous, so I didn't tell her that was going to happen. So I set up my station, and then I set up a little teeny station next to it. And then I was like, "Are you ready?" I was like, "Well, almost." I was like, "Let's switch seats real fast." She's like, "What?" So I was like, "We'll grab some gloves and switch seats with me." And then I was like, "All right, now pick this up." She's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Just, it's fine, it's fine." So I grabbed her hand. I'm like, "Okay, this is what's going to happen." And I told her, "It's just like writing with a pen. Just draw something on me and tattoo it."
and she got to pick what it was.
Well, she just drew a little heart really fast.
So
and then
cool.
she did it, and I was like, okay, this sucks, but do it again, but press harder. And that it hurt, but
Wow, I'd let if I was a tattoo. Do you have kids?
Yes.
Would you ever let them do it?
that's in the works too.
Wouldn't that be the cutest little thing? Just to have them do like little lines,
Yeah.
or something like that. I think that could be really
That
cool.
actually would be super cute.
I don't know. How old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking?
I have a 17-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter.
Oh, okay. So they're older. Do they show any interest in becoming tattoo artists or not?
Not really.
Not really?
Not really. I think it's just been around them their entire life.
Yeah.
You never
So they
really
don't
want to do
really
what your parents
care.
do. You want to always go be your own person.
My
Don't you
son's an
think?
artist. He's
cool.
already commissioning artwork and he's going crazy, but his world mostly revolves around anime.
Oh, yeah.
And
Hey, there's a lot of tattoo artists though that
Right.
the anime stuff.
right. If he ever chooses to go that route, I'd love to get into it, but he has his own path that I'm not trying to influence him too much. We really don't even draw together a lot. I'll give him little tips here and there, but
You
he's
kind
just,
of let him do
he's
it on
just
his own.
developing on his own. It's
That's great.
awesome.
That's
and
great.
he does stuff that I wouldn't even want to attempt. He's just insane with detail.
Backing up a little bit, talking about tattoos, do you remember the very first tattoo that you ever got? Like, was it?
Oh, that I got?
Yeah, that you got. Yeah, not that you gave, but that you
Okay.
got. Like, was it a good tattoo? You know, sometimes we all get kind of silly tattoos for our very first tattoo,
So
right?
my first ink in skin was when I was 13, and it was with a needle and thread inside of a diner.
Holy
There you go.
cow.
It was 45 minutes, and I think we got maybe a half inch on my finger, and then I ended up getting nauseous and sick all over the restaurant, and we ran away.
Wow.
So my actual tattoo with the machine was when I was 14. I got tattooed at a indoor swap meet at an airbrush station. They had a secret tattoo shop behind that. And it was like some
There we
gangbang.
go.
There was some gangbanger named Cooley, and he would tattoo anybody for $40.
Yeah.
Wow.
What if he's still tattooing? I should go get some work done.
I've actually gone back. I did go back to the
where-
indoor swap.
It's not
meet.
here in Utah, no.
No, this is in California.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
in
yeah.
Pico Rivera,
Okay.
California. And I did go back to that same, and there was an actual tattoo shop there, but the people that I got tattooed by were completely gone.
You're like, where's Cooley?
It was, yeah. And it was so funny because I was a broke kid growing up, you know, but my family didn't have a lot of money. So $40 was a task.
Oh, sure.
And
Like you saved up for
I
that.
saved,
huh?
I sold, I scrimped, and then I get there and I'm a dumbass 14-year-old. So he gets there, he sets up his station. He's like, so what are we doing? I was like, I want to get a tattoo. He's like, no shit. He's like, what are we doing? I was like, and I went blank. I'm like, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
I have no
Just
idea.
like-
My goal was $40 equals tattoo.
Yeah.
Never thought about what I was going to get.
So what'd you get?
Oh,
what,
And the dude, he's just sitting there, like drinking a beer, and he's like, yeah, "You like Grim Reapers?" And I was like, "Yeah, Grim Reapers are cool." He's like, "Cool, all right, we'll do Grim Reaper." So he just drew this Grim Reaper in a graveyard on my shoulder, and it looked like kind of like if you were to take a drawing and smear it, and it's slightly wet. That's what it looked like on my back.
Is it still there? Is it still?
I got it lasered off because I was planning on getting a back piece, but so I'm there all day. I'm 14. I'm supposed to be home for dinner.
Sure.
And I get home 3 hours late with zero excuse. There's no cell phones back then or nothing. And I'm basically half drunk because they were giving me alcohol too.
To help with probably the pain.
It hurt really bad. I remember
yeah.
getting sick a couple times. I had no idea what I was into.
Yeah.
We're in the
14 is pretty
garage
young.
getting tattooed. I got like these cholos around me that's giving me beer to calm me down. So I go home. I'm like half drunk and I got this stuffed paper towel in my shirt. I look like Quasimodo. And my dad, he kept smacking me in the back and that on my tattoo because he was lecturing me and like, you need to call it blah, blah, blah.
Did he
kept
know
smacking
you?
me.
He didn't know.
No idea.
No idea.
He had no idea.
It was
He
just his kind of
smacking me on
dad
my
pat.
back. Yeah. So they didn't see it until I was 17.
And what did they say?
Well, it was a fist fight.
Yeah.
My dad came home early. It was in summer. I was sleeping in bed because I'm a teenager. It was like past noon. That was the first time he actually saw my back. And yeah, it was rough. It was a nasty fist fight between us. And then it ended with him screaming, if you're going to live in my fucking house, you're going to live by my fucking rules. So me being a really rebellious teenager said, cool. 2 weeks later, I joined the military.
Have you tattooed your parents at all? Or
I did tattoo my dad. And while I was tattooing him, I brought up that story and he's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to. You're going to sit here and listen though, because I'm in the middle of this tattoo and you're going to hear everything I got to say now.
Was that a pretty proud moment to be able to tattoo your dad though?
It was really cool.
I mean, that would just be really cool.
That's some awesome bonding.
Because I've talked to a lot, tattoo artists that they'll tell me stories about, like why they were apprenticing, their parents didn't really support them. They, they didn't think they would do very well in life.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
and then they become successful tattoo artists. And it's like, oh, wow, there is actually some respect here. You know, you're not like I think tattoo artists, you know, as you know, I mean, it was a dirty biker thing for so long.
Whores and sailors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now it's a very respected profession where you can actually do well.
Yeah,
You're not going to be living in a trailer park, really, you know, and it's come a long ways. What do you think it is? I mean, let's see if I can even phrase this right. I haven't really thought a lot about this question, but what do you think changed for tattooing in general to make it as accepted and mainstream?
TV. Yeah.
A lot of the Miami Ink and the reality TV shows
that tattooers hate.
Yeah, but they did
really
good, though.
Contributed to making it a little bit more mainstream and people researching artists better, looking for better work instead of getting a stamp.
Yeah.
It's
So it's kind of raising expectations.
Yeah.
And
raise standards, which is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you have people coming into your shop thinking it's a TV show. They think that...
Where's the cameras?
Well, no, they'll come in and say, I want to get a sleeve today. I'm like, well...
That doesn't happen overnight.
Process.
Days to develop, and I'm also booked out 6 months. It's definitely not going to happen today. Yeah. So on TV, that's what you see them. They just roll in 15 minutes later. They have a sleeve designed, and by the end of the show, their tattoo's done.
Mm-hmm. What do people say when you say I'm booked out 6 months in advance? Have you had a lot of upset people or call you full of shit or what?
Well, I think about maybe 85% of people that come talk to me don't get tattooed by me, either because of wait times or we don't agree on designs or something, but it's fine. I understand. I have a very niche style and I'm very selective about what I do. And I just won't take anything on. When I first moved here, I told myself I'm not going to work for money anymore, meaning that I don't care how much money you have. If the piece isn't right for me, if it's not going to progress my career, I'm not going to take it. If you wanted, a tribal sleeve and you're like, I got $3,000 right now. And then there's somebody next to him that says, I have $300, but you can do whatever you want on my forearm. I'll take that $300 and put my heart into that piece, take a bunch of pictures of it, promote it online, and then people will see that and it'll come back to me. Because they'll see the passion. Mm-hmm. I would never repost that tribal tattoo and the money will go away. So now I'm completely hollow and I'm not happy with my work.
So each piece is an investment for you.
Yes.
Oh,
really.
sure,
Yeah.
It's gotta fit right. It's gotta feel good. And I want to have fun every day. I feel like I've worked enough tattoos that are bill payers that I don't have to do that anymore. I've paid my dues and now I just want to do what I want to do. If it doesn't have full passion, then I'll walk away from it. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It does upset a lot of people, but that's fine. It's my career. They're free to get whatever they want in their body and I'm free to choose who I work with or who I work on.
Yeah.
I don't owe anybody anything.
I love it.
So is that kind of your favorite thing about tattooing? Is kind of the freedom that you've been able to have finally with it?
I still shake my head and I can't believe this is what I do for a living. I think that's my favorite part of tattooing is that this is my favorite thing. Like I would do this for free. I do this for free.
And that's so cool.
I take my gear on vacation. I tattoo people just because I like them. You know, and I get paid and I get to pay bills and I get to take care of my family with my favorite thing. It's amazing to me. I love this job.
Is there anything about it that you wish you could change or isn't your favorite thing?
No, because I own the place now. So
that's true.
If I want to change something,
you would change the really bad tattoos that are out there, I guess, But I guess they have a place too, I guess.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't, it's all perspective at the same time too. Like I would never go after somebody's tattoo and tell them it's awful. It's theirs. It's their body. They might like it. And I'm not going to go fix everybody's tattoos that I don't like.
You were eyeing up this angel. It's pretty bad. You could be honest with me. That's
and that's also kind of a trap when people talk about stuff like that. Yeah. I can't just criticize their tattoos because right away they're going to say, oh, you're only saying that because you didn't do it. So it just puts me in a bad position.
But I'm sure, I mean, you can't say that though either. I'm sure you have some great tattoo artist friends in Salt Lake, even that, so you're not going to criticize their work and you're going to be honest.
The complete opposite too. Yeah. If somebody walks by me, I go, who did that? Or I'll tell them, did so-and-so do that? Because I can tell everybody's style by this point. Yeah. And I'll compliment the hell of an amazing tattoo. I don't care who did it. And so that's the flip side to it. But I won't criticize somebody's unless they tell me they're not happy with it. And if we're going to talk business, if you want me to fix it, then we'll discuss that. But if you want my opinion on your tattoo, if you want to know how much I would charge for your tattoo, which is another weird question, I won't answer those questions. I'll be a politician about it all day. Yeah. I will totally bob and weave those questions.
Let's take a quick break. We need to play a message from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back. So hang tight. Hey, Chrissy, we have a brand new sponsor of the podcast.
We sure do.
Five Wives Vodka. I am super excited to bring them on board and have them as a sponsor of the podcast.
Me too, because we've actually been enjoying them for a while now.
You know, and it's always been in the back of my head, like this fantasy. Like, oh my gosh, how awesome would it be to bring this great Utah vodka as a sponsor of this podcast? Dreams do come true. Five Wives Vodka is a proud sponsor of this podcast. When you're in Texas, you drink Tito's. When you're in Utah, you drink Five Wives Vodka. Big fan of theirs. They have a lot of great flavors. In this month, Chrissy, in the month of January, you can get $3 off a 750 milliliter bottle at all of the state liquor stores. So not only are you drinking a great local vodka, you're getting $3 off of your Five Wives Vodka when you go to the state liquor store.
And supporting local.
Go to fivewivesvodka.com. You can find out more about them. You can get great recipes, and you could send them a message and say, thanks for sponsoring I Am Salt Lake podcast. Do you have an event coming up that you need a photographer? Are you a local business and you need pictures for your products? We want to invite you to check out the work of local Salt Lake City photographer Amanda DeWolf. You could check out her work, you can get in touch, and you can order prints directly on her website at amandakmemories.com. Again, that's Amanda K, K-A-Y, memories.com. This might seem like a very basic question, Will, but I think it could be informative, especially for a lot of listeners of I Am Salt Lake, because obviously this isn't a tattoo podcast. Say somebody like Chrissy. Let's use Chrissy as an example, because she has 0 tattoos, and she wants to come in and get some tattoo work done. But she doesn't know how to do it. What are the steps, and a lot of people get intimidated by going into shops. Like, what is the process to get a tattoo? I mean, is there a few steps you would recommend, or?
Yeah. It's a lot different now that where everything is online. Before, that was the process. You walk in, you try to talk to somebody. They're usually pretty intimidating. You have no idea what's going on. It's loud. Machines are buzzing.
Yeah.
Now you could just look online, find recommendations, find the artist that you really like. The work really connects with you. And from there, just try to start a good conversation with them, see what their deposit, their process, and what kind of style they're into. Like, you wouldn't find a really good black and gray artist and then bring them something cartoony or colorful to do, because that's obviously not what he does. So just look at his work online, see that as kind of a guide, and just let them do their thing with your ideas. Don't tell them what to do or how to do it. It's like, especially if you find a nice high-end tattoo shop and a reputable tattooer, it's kind of like going to a really nice restaurant with your own recipes. That's not a good idea. Just, you show up, you trust that the chef has experience, the place has a reputation. You let them do their thing. You just order and they just let it go.
And they'll probably exceed your expectations.
They will. I've had people suggest what kind of equipment I need to do, what kind of ink I need to do, how they'll show me pictures of other tattooers. And my first thing is, why don't you just go see that person? I'm not going to pretend to be that person.
So why don't they go see that person?
Either because they're too expensive or they'd have a long wait.
Okay.
Oh,
and
wow.
Again, like, those two things shouldn't matter when you're talking about a craft that's permanent on your body. Just whatever. If that's what you really want, save up for it. And if they're booked out a year or whatever, wait. It's on you forever. Don't just jump the gun and get whoever's available just because they happen to know how to poke you with needles.
And I think a lot of people don't realize forever.
Yeah.
This is going to be on you forever. Because I know I'm the first one to admit that I'm not. I mean, some of the tattoos I got, when I was 18 or 20 years ago, I'm like, well, okay, I thought I would love that forever. But at the same time, it's, it's memories and, you remember it forever. But gosh, I don't know. It's still, it's a big decision. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, you get what you pay for. Just because somebody's doing a deal doesn't mean it's always the best.
Right.
But
definitely get what you paid for.
You've probably seen some pretty interesting tattoos out there in your day.
Yeah. Some of them you just shake your head at and I can't believe that's on your body. That's
Are there any
insane.
that someone has come to you and wanted you to cover up that have just been either ridiculous or super challenging or impossible?
Spelled wrong.
Spelled wrong.
Well, I've had my case of misspellings, but yeah, sometimes I used to do really major cover-ups, and that it's so exhausting. It takes 3 times more work than a normal tattoo, and I stopped that just because it was so draining. But I've taken on some crazy stuff, but then I've seen other stuff where I just like, I can't help you out. You either have to get lasered or the scarring is too bad where the texture of the skin won't even hold ink anymore. It's rough.
Oh, wow.
People get these really bad infections. You can get staph through that. You can really ruin and get really sick.
Wow.
If you go to the wrong person, and then they don't understand cross-contamination and proper cleanliness. That's like, nobody should ever pick up anything like an apprentice without learning how to clean first. That is the very, very first step you do, is learn how to clean top to bottom, that entire studio, how to keep sanitary, because that is the base. If you don't know how to clean, you will get somebody sick.
Wow. And there's no real...
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, Noelle, I kind of...
I was just going to say there's no real restrictions or like mandates overseeing that for tattooing, is there?
The health department has their suggestions. I working in Tennessee was a little bit more strict. Other states are a lot more strict, but I still push my standard. I still want I want a doctor's office, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody ever getting sick at my shop in any kind of way. So we use hard surface stuff. We just make sure we're thoroughly clean before we even start tattooing. We clean before, tattoo you, and then we clean after. So the very next person doesn't have anything to do with your blood.
How many artists are out of your shop there, Blaque Salt Studio?
It's 5 of us total right now.
5 of you?
Yes.
So you got you and Casey, who's been on the podcast.
Yes. Casey Roy. We have Sadie Bell, Preston, and Sammy Goodwin.
Awesome. I'll have to get them all on the show.
Yeah.
Or bring them all.
They're all
bring
great
them all.
peoples.
What advice would you give somebody who wanted to become a tattoo artist?
Oh, I get that one a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a pretty generic question.
Well, most of the time, people have it in their head that they have to do tattoo art, in quotations. So they try to design stuff that they see online, or they try to copy Sailor Jerry stuff. And that's fine if you want to be a street artist or if you want to do flash work. I don't consider myself a tattooer. I'm an artist who happens to tattoo. So there's a difference. You can be an amazing, clean mechanic tattooer, not the most creative, but your work would be respectable just because of the craftsmanship. And that's awesome. But then there's also the flip side to it where you just want to be an artist. You want to be able to put the visions in your head on skin. And that's a totally different level of tattooing. You don't really follow the traditional tattoo rules, which drives a lot of people crazy.
What motivates you when you don't feel like creating, Will? Like when you have those days, right, where you're just like, I don't have it today.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I get up at 6:30 every day and you have to create. I have to do something original for somebody every day. So I guess coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee and exercise.
Does that ever get super overwhelming?
Yes. The other day, especially my imagination is very fickle sometimes. I can get off my game really easy. And if I can't picture it in my head, I can't do it. And it's sometimes just getting that picture is difficult. I'll start doing research for my tattoo the day prior, just gather information, sleep on it, and then wake up obsessed with it. So it's just brewing in my head until the appointment starts. I've driven to work with maybe half an hour to my appointment with no idea.
Oh, wow.
And then on the highway, as I'm listening to music, I'm like, there it is. There's the one thing I needed. And then from there, everything just falls into place.
Wow.
So what inspires you? Like do you where do you go for inspiration?
Music.
Who's your like favorite music bands?
Oh man, I'm all over
Top
the place.
3.
Some full spectrum of.
What did you listen to on the way over here?
I was listening to Social Distortion.
I love it.
Yeah, a lot of old punk rock. Just
Yeah,
'cause I'm getting ready for Misfits next week.
Are you going to Misfits down in Vegas?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
so
I'm kind of
excited.
jealous of that one.
So
Just go hop in the car.
That's what it's up to right now. But I'll go from classical to death metal to hardcore southern hip hop to just it's all over the place. It's, as long as it has good energy,
Yeah.
and it just puts me in a good mood, then I'll roll with it. I don't have a favorite, but I grew up a punk rock kid. That's all I listened to, and I was very narrow minded with everything. Like, this is the only type of music I'll ever listen to. And then
that's how it was for me.
Yeah,
too.
but then that's like only eating one kind of food.
Yeah,
that's so boring.
Did you skateboard too? Were you a big skater?
I didn't.
You didn't get into all that whole scene.
No,
Yeah,
I couldn't afford a skateboard.
Yeah. What year were you born? I'm just trying to
79.
79. Okay,
Yeah.
See, I was 77, so that's what I'm just trying to figure out the wavelength that we're on. Let's talk about Blaque Salt Studio a little bit more. I know I kind of keep jumping back there, but the logo, I mean, it's very just, did you come up with that logo?
Yes.
It's pretty, I mean, what is there meaning behind,
Yes.
what is the, talk about that.
Highly overthought. So the circle, the circle itself is an enzo. It's a form of meditation. It represents enlightenment. So it represents the void and enlightenment, which is everything and nothing at the same time. And then that's a positive symbol. It just means what it is positivity. So I'm also Buddhist, and that kind of represents my spiritual path to become a positive person after, trained to think the worst case scenario and be super negative and pessimistic in the army, because that's the whole point of it. You train for the worst case scenario, but living a normal life doesn't work out too well when you think that way. So I'm trying to be positive. And also when I was in the army, I was an electrician. And when you're looking at a schematic, the very base of it is a circle with a positive and a circle with a negative for positive and negative energy. You have to know your polarities. So it literally means positive energy from my military past and my spiritual present.
So it's got some special meaning to you.
I wanted something that was not just about my tattoo shop, but something people could look at and get inspired by. And I think positive energy is a great thing. People need more of it in life. There's so much pessimism and so much aggression in this world that, I don't know, just little things like that. I feel like hopefully make somebody smile or make somebody's day or something.
Besides tattooing, I mean, are you creating art on other mediums? Like, are you doing canvas or paper? Or anything?
Oil, charcoal, anything really.
Do you sell any of that art?
Yes. I also do commission paintings, which take forever. That's a different kind of art for me, just because if I'm working on you have a lot of expectations. We have from this time to this time, and I'm going to be 100% for you during that time. Canvas doesn't have that expectation. It just waits for me. And
what do you like better, though? I mean, do you have a favorite?
Not really.
Not
no,
really.
I just doing art. Just doing art in general. I go crazy if I don't do art.
How can people that want to commission you?
How's that?
Like say I wanted to commission you or a listener. How would they find out?
You just hit me up on social media.
Hit you up on your website or Facebook or something
and
like
just
that.
Depending on how my schedule is right now, like I'm about 5 paintings back right now.
Yeah.
Do you find it harder with canvas? Like you have so much time to create that you kind of, it's like you think of too many ideas and then it's a little bit, because you're not.
And I don't know why I'm more intimidated to paint than tattoo, because I feel like if I make the wrong step, that's so many hours that I have to backtrack and try to fix. I stared at a painting once for 6 months without touching it.
Oh, wow.
And then one day it hit me. I'm like, oh, I know how to finish it. And I finally finished it, and 2 days later I sent it out. But I don't know. I don't know why I put that kind of pressure on myself with paintings.
I get it though. Like it makes sense. I think I would have the same problem. That's what makes me think that.
So besides tattooing, what are some of your other hobbies and interests? I mean, what else do you enjoy, or besides art? I guess
that's basically my life. I'm pretty obsessed with my job. I don't have a 9-to-5 mentality. I don't turn it off when I go home. I wake up at 6:30 and I usually crash out around midnight, 1 o'clock. That entire time I'm thinking about art or doing some kind of art and trying to manage my life and the business and in between. I think that's what kind of has put me where I am now, since I've only been in Salt Lake since 2012. When we moved here, we sold our house when we sold all our furniture and just picked up our stuff. Pretty much just threw a dart at a map and just moved here. I knew 2 people when we first moved here. My wife was still in Tennessee selling her house. I was in here in my friend's bedroom with my kids and my dog, and I needed to get us back to where we were. So it's been kind of an obsession to get my family back to where we were, because I just felt guilty for quitting my job and for putting them through that hardship.
Is there any like random skills like in the back of your head? You're like, gosh, it'd be fun to learn how to be a ventriloquist, or learn how to be a fire breather or something like that,
Any kind of craftsmanship. I watched like this 20-minute video of this guy blowing glass the other day.
Yeah.
Oh
Because
man,
it was just
that's gorgeous.
He was just so laid back and just so relaxed about it, but he's playing with lava. That to me is amazing. Just anything you can do with your hands to create nothing into something beautiful to me is amazing. So anything really.
Kind of changing direction here a little bit. If you could do anything on your next birthday, is there anything you would like to do or I know it's
my
like,
next
whoa,
birthday.
There's a random question for you, you know.
Me and Casey actually have the same birthday.
Really?
So
fun.
Do you guys celebrate together?
We try. This year we're going to be going to California. We're both getting tattooed by the same person. So that's going to be really neat.
At the same time, right? Back and forth.
He's ambidextrous.
Is there, guys, that'd be kind of cool. Tattoo with the right and left hand.
That'd be
I've seen
super
people
cool.
paint that way. I've never seen somebody tattoo that way, but that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. My left hand is so untrained for stuff like that. I feel like really clumsy with it.
Who are you getting tattooed by in California, if you don't mind me asking?
Tommy Lee Wedner.
Yeah, see, I don't even know who it is anyways.
He's pretty awesome. I got tattooed about 6 years ago, and he taught me so much within the 6-hour time I had with him. I still use a lot of the techniques he showed me, so I'm pretty psyched about going back to getting tattooed by him again.
What would you name the autobiography of your life?
I used to have plans. I used to make plans, and life is so random that you just got to say fuck it and just go for it sometimes. Like I've had so many random doors open in my life, and I've been like, well, let's see what happens. And it's put me in some crazy situations, and it's put me here. This is how I got like Blaque Salt Studio, for example.
Yeah.
I was working at Anchor and I wanted to do something different. My buddy Phil Lambert, I had talked to him about wanting to do something more private. He had that little studio, and then he moved to another place where he can live and have as a studio at the same time. And he's just like, do you want to take over my place? I have about 3 months left. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's try it out. And I wasn't doing very well at all. I was only tattooing, I think, about 6 months at this point in the state. I had a very small clientele, and I just had people who believed in me and invested in me, and it just grew and grew and grew. And that's how I had Casey come to me and Preston and a lot of other people just saying, fuck it, let's see what happens.
Because you apprenticed Casey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she apprenticed under you, I guess. Yeah. Have you apprenticed a lot of people?
I've attempted to.
They don't always work out.
No, my mentality and the way I was raised in the Army is different. And not that it's better, but I respond to pressure and being yelled at and all the usual like stuff you see in basic training videos. That motivates me. It doesn't hurt me. You have to develop a thick skin. So somebody screaming in your face or somebody telling you you're wrong and slapping something down and making you do it 10 times in a row. It doesn't demotivate me. It pushes me forward to try to really stick it to that person.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think that way. And unfortunately, that's kind of the way I went about it. So I know I definitely contributed to things not working out. I just won't do it anymore. It's frustrating on both ends. Yeah. My expectations are very high, and they also have their own expectations, and I just can't do that anymore. So I just actually thought of the answer to your question.
Oh, for the autobiography?
Yes.
Okay, so what would you name the autobiography?
Life is good.
Life is good. I like
Simple.
it.
I think just being alive is an amazing gift.
Yeah.
Being able to breathe and to, especially living in the States where you have the opportunity to make something great of yourself. It's an amazing thing to me. It's just simply be alive. I think it's a wonderful gift.
Let's switch gears here to Salt Lake City. A couple standard questions I ask on the podcast, but I am curious your thoughts. I don't ask this too often because I don't have tattoo artists or people that are tattooists on the podcast, but what is your thought? I mean, do you think we're oversaturated here in Salt Lake with tattoo shops? I mean, there's a lot of tattoo
There's a lot. When I went and got my license in 2013, they said there was over 50 licensed tattoo shops. That's not even including people tattooing out of their house and garages. There's a lot of tattoo shops.
Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of work. You stay busy.
There is. I think every industry is really oversaturated. It's just for the people who are ambitious and want to do something different and go at it a little bit more aggressive that stick out. And I think that's what's helped me out, that I am an aggressive person. I do go after what I want, and I am very demanding. So I've made a place for myself here, whether people wanted me or not. But yeah, I just think people just want good work. They want to be treated well. They want a nice environment. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You just
Just got to offer it.
Put out quality work and treat them well, and they'll come back for more, and they'll tell all your friends about you, and you do the same
and you
thing
have
you
have their art on you.
And they're walking billboards. Yeah. The more you put out, the more that comes back. It's not difficult.
If somebody was visiting Salt Lake City for, like, say, this upcoming weekend, is there something you would tell them to go do and check out? I mean, what would you tell someone who's visiting? Like some people, an area of town or buildings to go check out, or a hike, or
the Capitol building behind the Capitol building. That's a really nice one. I think it's a nice, easy hike, and you get to see the entire city, and it's a little foggy sometimes, but I think that's a great view. Mostly the mountains. I grew up in dense LA. We didn't have stuff like this out there. And I think it's beautiful to live out here and be able to just stare at the snow-covered mountains when I drive to work. It's
Do really you ski or snowboard or anything?
Not at all. Yeah. I'm really paranoid to do any activities that might injure my wrists or my back.
I can respect that.
I don't bowl. I don't do a lot, just because I know if I sprain my wrist, that's expensive.
Yeah. I mean, that's your career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about favorite local eating spots? Is there any favorite restaurants that Will's like, I love this place?
I'm such a fat kid about stuff. My shop is right next to Duffy's Tavern. They have kick-ass sandwiches. Yeah. Right down the street, we have Proper Burger. HSL is an amazing restaurant that I've really been obsessed over. The Rest is really good. And the usual stuff like Copper Onion and then even the little spots like Grove's Deli. That's one of my
good sandwiches. Yeah,
they're huge. They're like cartoon-sized sandwiches. They're amazing.
Have you gone down further to Town and Country?
No, I've never heard of that.
What's that with your 9th South area for Blaque Salt? Yeah, I guess Town and Country. They have really good sandwiches. They're about 2800 South in Main Street. Mm-hmm. But they're really good sandwiches.
I'm willing to travel for
it's a good sandwich. It's a good. I mean, you get a big sandwich like $5 or $6, man. And
nice.
You're just like, boom. I mean, you will think that the girls in there are like on a work release program. You would think like some kind of prison.
It's a little rough.
They're a little, like the one has a tattoo of like Tinkerbell smoking a cigarette. And
nice,
well, there you go.
There's this taco spot on, I think it's 33rd South in Redwood called Mi Caramelo, and it's a taco place, and it's so freaking good. It's definitely a little rough inside, but man, that
really good tacos,
amazing.
Huh?
Yeah, they got like all the hardcore stuff you don't see anywhere, like brains and cheeks and tongue. Ooh. It's amazing.
Let's go try it out, Chrissy.
Oh yeah, highly recommend that place.
Is there anything you would change about Salt Lake City? And if there's nothing, that's fine too.
Well, besides like the alcohol laws, because even though I don't drink, I still think it hurts businesses.
Sure.
It makes things difficult for people or other businesses.
We're labeled weird too,
and it just doesn't seem fair that you're paying full price for half the amount of alcohol.
Sure.
That's just craziness. So that would definitely help out the community, I think, to just don't treat people like adult children. That's another one. Like, allow people to just not necessarily do what they want to go crazy, but educate them on stuff. Like, just don't hide everything behind doors and think that they'll never be curious about it. I think that's what causes so much suppression and anger and aggression in people, is to be suppressed and to be told, like, if you think this way, you're going to go to wherever, outer limits and in the darkness. But
a little bit of free will goes a long way.
Yeah.
How can let's run down the list. How can people contact you? What is the address for your shop, Facebook, website, all of that, Will?
So
what's the best way?
930 South Main Street. That's on 900 South in Maine, right next to Duffy's Tavern.
Yeah, like you said, right next to Duffy's there.
And to reach me, it's usually just through Facebook or Instagram. It's facebook.com WillXXTattoos or Instagram /Will_XX. And I'm fairly easy to get a hold of. I try my best to reach people back, but the shop Facebook is definitely the best place, because if you write us, you'll get an automatic message back with everybody's information on it, not just mine. You'll be able to see all our portfolios and contact any of our artists through there. And I think that's definitely the best way to go, because I'm only one person. You can't
do everybody. You can't tattoo everybody.
Everybody there does something a little bit different, which is amazing, because then we're on all niche, and everybody should prosper. And
I'll put all those links at iamsaltlake.com with this episode of the podcast, show notes and all that. And I mean, seriously, go check out Blaque Salt Studio, the website, the Will's art. I mean, amazing tattoo artist. amazing art in general. I definitely...
And amazing people. From what I've met, amazing place to go just for the people.
You and Casey, both of you, are great people. And anything else? I mean, is there anything else we should ask him while we have him here, Chrissy? I mean, I know there's probably a million things we could talk to him about.
You're fascinating.
But
what piece of advice would you give, like the most general piece of advice that you would want to leave with people?
As far as for the tattoo industry?
No, just life in general.
To live it.
Yeah.
There you go.
To get out and do stuff and experience life, because you're going to be gone one day. Get out of your head. Stop overthinking stuff and just live.
That's perfect.
Seems like a great place to end the show. Thank you so much, Will.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this.
Yes,
no, absolutely.
Thank
you so much. And we'll end it there. All right. Many thanks again to Will XX for coming on this episode of the podcast. Make sure to reach out with him, connect with him, follow him on social media. I know he's got a lot of stuff on his Facebook page and Instagram. We're going to put all that at iamsaltlake.com/311 for episode 311, not for the band.
But that's a good band. So,
well, speak for yourself there.
Oh, excuse me.
I want to talk about the Utah Podcast Summit though, Chrissy. I'm really excited to talk about this really quickly on this episode of the podcast. It is happening Friday, February 2nd from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So yeah, I know it's a Friday. A lot of you are going to have to take the day off of work or from school. I don't know you're in.
Whatever you need to do. But the thing I love about this is that there's going to be beginner options and advanced options. So wherever you are during, like in your podcast journey, there's something for you.
There's a lot of people out there that want to start. They don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
That was actually my doing. So they asked me to get involved with this Utah Podcast Summit. I'm actually going to be one of the main speakers at it, which I'm really excited for. You got to come to at least check out my speech. Anyway, I said, people are at such different levels. Let's create 2 tracks. So there's beginner and advanced. You can select that when you go to buy your ticket. Mm-hmm. Now, I set up a really easy URL for you to remember to go buy your ticket. If you go to iamsaltlake.com/podcast summit 2018, it's going to forward you to the SLCC website where you can purchase a ticket. Tickets are only $45. But I mean, that's great for all day, $45.
And guys, lunch is included.
Lunch is included.
I'd pay $45. No, I wouldn't pay $45 for lunch.
It's a great networking opportunity.
It is. The whole day you can network with other podcasters, get a free lunch.
There's a lot of conferences out there that are $500 plus.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and sell you.
Most of them.
If you don't want to come, that's fine. But come and at least hang out with Chrissy and I.
Yeah, come on.
And there's going to be other podcasters, other people that we've had on the show. I'll put that link at iamsaltlake.com with this episode show notes. So hopefully we'll see you at the Utah Podcast Summit happening February 2nd. It's Friday, February 2nd. And again, if you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out to Chrissy or myself. Hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Many thanks again to Five Wise Vodka and Amanda K. Memories for sponsoring this episode. Thanks to Will XX for coming on this episode. But most of all, thank you for listening to this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. That way you never miss an episode. You guys have a great week.
And good night, Grammy.